Hi and welcome to Slick Willy Fly. And what we're going to do is a three-part series on three very simple, super beginner flies designed to catch redfish or really anything in the inshore, but redfish is my mentality. And the most important part about these flies is they got to be super beginner ties, very few materials, and really under 10 minutes to tie them. And the first one we're going to tie is this little green alien here. Super easy. This little bug has a little bit of craft fur, a little bit of laser dubbing, and a couple of hackle feathers. So I'm going to change the camera angle and let's tie this up. Okay, so the one in the vise is got the same three materials that we just spoke about, plus I used 140 denier yellow thread. For the one we're about to tie, I'm going to go ahead and use some black thread, and I'm going to change the eyes that I hooked. The eyes that I used. For the first fly, for this fly, I used bead chain. For this coming fly, I'm going to go with 140 denier black ultra. So I'm going to go ahead and start my thread. This is an awesome fly. Definitely gets bites. Super simple to tie, and I think it's important. I think it's really important that we help young people start in their fishing lives and get interested in all kinds of fishing. I think it's important that they like all kinds of fishing, including fly fishing, obviously. But I think it's cool that they learn to tie flies and just learn the right way. So for eyes, I'm using these twin golden eyes in size small, which are a little bit heavier than bead chain, but they're not super heavy. And I'm just gonna do, like I always do, a few wraps one way, and then I do a few wraps in the opposite direction, making sure I like the way they're sitting, which I do. And once I like the way they're sitting, I can then just lock it in good and hard. And once I'm happy that it's locked in good and hard, bring my thread back to about just past the point of the hook. So I have two feathers pre-selected, and we're going to use pretty much the entire feather. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to remove a little bit of this ridiculous excessive fluff. But as you can see, I'm actually leaving some on there. I'm going to do the same on both feathers. I'm going to cut them down a little bit, make my life a little easier to tie them in. Now, when I tie these in, I'm going to think about how I'm going to palmer them. So I'm going to tie them in with the shiny side facing me. And I'm going to tie them in right at the back of the hook. That little spin that I just gave this to the left, that just makes my life easy, getting the thread to rotate back towards my fingers. Just like that. I can lock these in and remove the tag end. Just like that. Okay, keep my thread kind of out of the way. Then I'm just going to take them together. I'm going to palmer everything back. Sometimes I wet my fingers, makes it a little simpler. And I'm just going to start bringing this up the hook shank. Just like that. Oh, for a hook, I have a Mustad 34007 in size 1. I guess that's a little interesting for the guys that are way into hooks. But really, for this fishing, any saltwater hook will work. Whichever hook you prefer. And the size is really gonna be the size of the fish you're gonna be catching. So now once I'm to the eyes here, to the dumbbell eyes, I just want to capture that. Just like that. And that's basically done. I kind of think maybe I want to put one more feather on just to get a little bit more hackle up by the eyes. So I have a short one. I always have a backup ready. And I'm going to go ahead and tie that in right behind the eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that up. It's a good little, glad that, in a way I'm glad that happened. I do all my videos in one take. And, you know, if something should go wrong or if something needs to be adjusted, I like for you all to be able to see that. See how it really is. I think it's important that you guys get an idea of what it's really like for me when I'm tying. Alright, so now that's tied in. And we can trim off that little end. And I like that better actually. It's a little bit more full. Nice. So now I'm going to bring my thread forward. Just like I do with any clouser, basically. I'm going to invert the fly, which will make it easier for me to tie and easier for you to see. So what do I have? I have a little bit of craft fur in olive and a little bit of laser dub, which I've blended together, pre-blended together. And now I'm just going to get a length. By blending them together, all I really do is I put them together in my hands and then I just like pull them apart and restack. And then I pull it apart and restack. And it takes a couple of minutes to get a nice blend, but you do end up with a nice blend. And for my length, I don't want a super long wing. That's plenty right there. And I am going to trim that nice and square. I want my thread right up against the dumbbell eyes. Give it that little spin that I always give it. That's important. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the hook. I'm going to put 2 loose wraps and then I'm going to pull it forward so that it's in the exact location that I want it. 2 loose wraps. Now I'm going to pull it forward so that I clear the eye of the hook. And once I've cleared the eye of the hook, now I can lock this in. And by doing that, just like that, I end up with a really, really clean head. Perfect. So that is all the flash we're going to need for this fly. Not going to put a weed guard. That wing will act like a weed guard. So now it's a whip finish. I like using my whip finish tool. I know there's a lot of people that like using their hands to do a whip finish. I just think that the whip finish tool gives me a more consistently good looking knot. Carefully going to trim away my thread. Now the last thing I'm going to do, because I want this fly to ride hook up, is I'm going to trim a little bit of this material off the bottom of the fly. So I'm going to carefully come in here, right down the center, and just down the center, and trim up a little bit of that material right down the center. I hope I didn't take my hands out of the frame. I might have, and I apologize if I did. But that's it. So that will by having less material on the bottom, that will make sure that this fly rides hook up. And then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of UV resin on this knot, just to make sure the knot never comes undone. Super, super simple tie. Perfect for beginners. You know, like when I say few materials, it's not only that the materials are few. These materials are pretty inexpensive to purchase. Craft fur, Lazer dub, that bag of Hackel. In the world of hackles, that's a pretty inexpensive hackle. Could have trimmed that up a little bit, but it won't really matter. Should have maybe trimmed that knot a little better. But it'll be all right. I could trim it after. I could come in with a straight razor and make that just a little cleaner. In fact, I will. Show you what I mean. I could come in here with a straight razor. You probably can't see it now. And just trim that up. Where that UV resin gets hard. There you go. Beautiful. So I'm going to give it just a touch more UV resin. And again, one take, so you get to see all my little issues, which I think is great. I think it's important. I think it's especially important for new fly tyers to see that, you know, I've been tying for a long time and I still have issues. But this is a cool fly, super buggy. It's just a crustacean of some sort. You could tie it in any color, any size. Obviously you're gonna want to match your hook size to the size of the fish you're catching in your area. And that's it right there. Alright, so welcome back. So there it is, all tied up. Here is a chartreuse bead chain version of the exact same fly. This is a great little beginner fly, super inexpensive and perfect for new tyers, because all these bags, all these materials, they'll make a ton of flies. So this is a great starting point, I think, for new tyers. Slick Willy Fly is now on Instagram, so look me up on Instagram, and good luck catching. Be on the lookout for future contests, because I think I'm going to be holding contests a little more often. Thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.